Shalom, Mr. First foremost, I do want to give all praises, all honor, and all glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahushai, Ba'ashim Kakadash, the one of the apostles, and those great millstone for teaching us this truth, peace, and blessing to the whole plate of Israel. Yahweh is the name of the Heavenly and Hebrew. Ba'ashim is the name, and Yahushai is the name of the Megan Son. Back on our lesson, and today we're going to go into another MOTV update. Going to, all roads lead, to the MOTB, lead to the you-know-what. Excuse me, but I came across a video right here. It's dealing with the Real ID. It says Real ID enforcement begins May 7th, 2025. What you need to know to fly and access federal facilities. And as you know, in Revelation 13:16, you won't be able to, live a so-called, normal life without it. You're gonna be having this devil, applying that pressure, tightening that grip, implementing these harsh restrictions, these mandates, pushing you into a corner where a choice will have to be made. And you either take, that Karagma, that RFID CHIP, and go and show that you are in agreement with this beast system, that you're making Esau even your God, or you deny, you don't bow down, to this beast system, you stand stiffly for the Lord. And only one of those choices is correct. But this is how many, or why you're going to have many people end up taking this thing, lining up, especially a lot of these Israelites, man. Especially those these other Israelite camps that have sold out, that have took the bag, that promoted the juice. When that came out, went and took it themselves. So if they did that, imagine what they do when this comes to pass. Because even going back to the year 2020, dealing with the lockdowns, the restrictions that were in place, and you needed to have that concoction, that juice to go to your job, to travel. You needed to have a green pass and all these different things. And you had a lot of those Israelites that still went up and took that thing, man. So we failed the pop quiz. Imagine when the test is in play. But I'm going to place a quick video right here. Get this out of the way, get a couple of scriptures, going to the point of what ultimately, this is, pretty much leading up to the steps that are being taken. So I'll place real quick and I'll read the caption. And that'll be that.
Hannes, May 7th is our official deadline, and every traveler who comes to the checkpoint is required to show a real ID. What does that mean? If you don't have one, go to your DMV, your Department of Motor Vehicles, and make an appointment so that you can be ready to fly as of May 7th. Real ID is...
And just going back to that point, all roads lead to the MOTV. This is just, more steps, towards that direction. I see everything is pretty much, going the digital route. So we're seeing some more self-checkout aisles being implemented within these stores. Everything going digital. And these devils have been laying out that foundation, that infrastructure, in order to usher in this beast system, which is going to be ran through that Karagma, that MOTV, which is the RFID CHIP. So you especially how they're slowly conditioning and preparing the people for it. Via these different apps, like Amazon One, we're able to pay with the palm of your hand. All the different apps we're able to pretty much pay for things before you go into the store, so you can just walk in and out. Especially doing this in the name of convenience. You really see how lazy these people within Babylon the Great in America are. So when they see something that makes their life a little so-called easier, more, or convenient, they be lining up to take it, man. And now let's get these scriptures at hand. This is Revelations 13:16-17. And it says, and he called those small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their forehead. And this is one of the main scriptures that you should know by now already. This is a heavy, heavy end time prophecy, and we're seeing the steps being taken towards it. But especially, that's why it's important to go into the etymology of these words, so you know what the scriptures are talking about, what it's going into. Because when you go into the word mark, in the Greek, goes into the word karagma, which then goes into the word scratch and etch, showing you see physical mark. And I say that because you have a lot of these others like camps pushing and promoting that the MOTB spiritual, that it's sin itself, which is completely off and not what it's going into, Now this is verse 17. Now it says, "And that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name." And just do back to verse 16. It says, "Or in their foreheads." You're all seeing an update still with Elon Musk, and his Neuralink, as well as companies pretty much following in suit. Read verse 17 one more time. "And that no man might buy or sell." And Rob's point being, listen, you won't be able to live a so-called normal life without that C-hip. Listen, your hand will be forced. A choice will have to be made. You will be pushed into a corner, man. This is especially where it's going to be made known who the Lord is dealing with. Because speak fast. You're going to have a lot of Israelites that end up buckling under that pressure. That's end up taking the MOTB because they didn't really have faith in the Lord. They weren't willing to go, a couple of days without food, if need be. They weren't willing to lose their job. Because that grip's gonna be tight, man. That pressure will be applied. You may have your own woman pushing and urging you to go out and take it. She may even, take herself and the young ones, the kids with her, to go out and take that thing, man. These are the situations that you may be, possibly faced with, man, and what you need to be prepared for. But you have faith, have trust in Yahweh Shema Shot, man. Because the Lord's going to defend and protect those that believe, which is his elect, which you hope and pray that we're a part of the Lord's will. But we read verse 17 from on top one more time, "And that no man might buy or sell, save he that the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name." Now see Isaiah chapter 10 verse 1, which is going into these draconian-like laws. Now it says, "Woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees, and that right grievances which they have prescribed." So once you go into these draconian-like laws, when you go to the word draconian, goes to harsh, strict. We're at that point, throughout the lesson multiple times. That'll be tightening that grip. You're going to be bringing that hammer down, man. That pressure will be applied. And you're going to have many Israelites buckle under that pressure, man. End up taking that thing, lining up. But we just pray that we are those that endure. That stand stiffly, boldly for the Lord. But this is 2 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 11. And it says, "Lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his device." We see right through this, what this is ultimately leading up to. The steps are being taken. It's clear. And that's the spirit. Because listen, just yesterday going to 2020 spiritual vision, we can see crystal clear with the times that we are in. The things that are happening, the things that are going on. And it's clear unto us, man. Because we especially have the script, the word, the truth. The spoilers to this movie. This is Revelation chapter 2, verse 10. Now it says, "Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast you into prison." So we're going to be persecuted, we're going to be hated, we're going to be demonized, we're going to be jailed, imprisoned, for not bowing down to his beast system, for standing stiffly for the Lord. We're going to be hated. So you may have brothers being, cast into these jails, these prison houses, and these FEMA camps. But as we continue to read, "Behold, the devil shall cast him into prison, that ye may be tried, and shall have tribulation 10 days, going a certain period of time. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life." There's a reward at the end of the finish line for standing boldly for the Lord, for remaining faithful, even in the face of death, man. So once again, the Lord is going to reward those that believe, those that endure, those that remain faithful. Which once again is his elect. In Psalm 37, how the Lord has not, forsaken his righteous. So what do you think in a world of wickedness, the Lord will defend the few that are sincere, that are remaining faithful, those that are standing stiffly and boldly for him? What do you think the Lord will reward that? Revelation chapter 2:10 now says, "Because I was kept with my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation." What's the hour of temptation? Be mainly when the MOTB is presented in front of us. So everyone's going to be presented with that choice, man. And which you're going to have a lot of these Israelites end up picking the wrong choice. Choosing, so-called life. In reality, they chose death, man. Because what's you're going to be faced with persecution, with demonization. It's a choice will have to be made. And you're going to have many Israelites going to fold, under that pressure, man. And because I was kept with my patience, I also keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try and dwell upon the earth. I'm trying to remember that point. I was just grabbing because I was wanting to expound on it. I lost my train of thought. But once again, we're going to be faced with that choice of Brock Director. Should I go into being faced with death? So you're going to have many Israelites that folding that pressure, thinking they chose, so-called life, thinking they chose the right choice. We're going to have to once again, you chose death. And those that chose, so-called death, chose life, man. You're remaining faithful in Yahweh, Shema Shai, saying stiff and bold for the Lord, not bowing down to the beast system. That right there is choosing life, man. But that's the point right there. To make a quick lesson, or actually, I had one more scripture, so like here. And this is going to the judgment that you will receive if you take that sikh, that karagma. And the third angel follows him, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast and his image, and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand. Now, how do you do that? By the way of receiving that karagma, go to show that you are in agreement with this beast system. That you're making Esau Edom your God. Verse 10. The same shall drink of the wine of wrath the Most High, which is poured without mixture into the cup of his indignation. He should be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the angels and in the presence of the Lamb. The Lamb representing Yahweh Shai, and that fire and brimstone being those thermonuclear missiles. So you will quite literally be thermonuclear missile food. You're getting front row seats. So you will receive hefty judgment if you do take that thing. Whether you receive the Neuralink, the RFID chip within the hand, as you go in Revelation 13:16, the mark in the right hand or in the forehead. But also just to get this other point right here, it says, and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand. So either hand you take it in. Because you also have a lot of these dudes who will try to find a loophole, trying to outsmart the Lord, saying, what if I take it in my left hand? Either hand you take, and you will be destroyed, man. But the point was made. Lord, let's edify you, close and give all praise, all honor, and glory to Yahweh, Shem Al Shai, Shem Kakadash, and Shalom. See you next one, Lord's will.